order pretty much, and our template. I'm still in paper space. If I double click in here, as you see, model space, click outside paper space, inside model space. So I can actually draw in here if I wanted. However, to give me a bit more flexibility and freedom, I'm going to go to my model space. Okay. If you want to set limits for your drawing, so that means that what happens is, if you get lost or whatever, if you press zoom and you go to all, that's basically the size. This is all you're looking for. 0, 0, 0,0 for bottom left, and then you can actually set 297,210, which is your A4. So that you can set your limits if you want, and that just means that when you zoom, it'll zoom from there to there, so that's fine. You can start drawing rectangles, anything you want, just using the tools up here, draw tools, circles, arcs, rectangles, lines, all sorts of fun stuff to draw. So I am going to just start with, just show you a couple of things which which are basically associated with City and Guild's assignment, and which might help you. So rectangle 0, 0, I'm going to put my bottom left corner at 0, 0, and then I'm going to draw something that's 70 by 50, right? Ooh, I'll go 50, forget that. I can back tab if I put the wrong number in. So if I press shift and tab, it goes back to the thing before. 50 and then comma, right? And then I want it to go 50, I'll go 25, right? Enter. Here's a beautiful rectangle. So I'm zooming in and out using my scroller. However, if you want to zoom and you go to all, there's my drawing space that I was looking at before. You can zoom, and E for extents. You see all these options down here, window, object, whatever you want to do. Whoa, extents means whatever you've drawn, so that whole rectangle is just there. So there's a couple of things to help if you get lost zooming and stuff, right? If I wanted to draw a line and I want to draw it at an angle, say I do it from the centre, so I've put snap down here. Again, F3 for your snap, click on the little arrow, and I've clicked on every single option because I want to be looking at quadrants, like snapping to quadrants, snapping to midpoint, and all that means is when I hover over any object I've drawn, it kind of snaps to that triangle as midpoint and tells me it's midpoint. And look, oh, is it going to say endpoint? It's not going to tell me it's endpoint. Right, I'll go back here. Said it a minute ago, midpoint, right? There you go, midpoint, lovely. So if I wanted to do, for example, a construction line, I'm going to go back to my layers, right? And at the minute I'm on text, so I've just drawn a rectangle in text, oops. So I'm going to do a new layer, and I'm going to call it Silken, and I'm going to do it a beautiful purple colour, because all my drawings are going to be in purple. Okay, just for fun. I'm going to do a new one, right click, new layer, and I'm going to call it construction, right? And I'm going to do it in red because that's my construction lines, which I'm going to also do the line type. I'm going to load dash dot, that one, ISO. See ISO, International Standards Organization. So these are all standardized line types, right? So I'm going to OK that. So that's what that one is. My line is going to be continuous, my Silken line, and my construction line, which I'm just using to help me with my construction, is going to be dashed. So I want so if I go back to my drawing here, this was in text. So if I click on that, it says up here text. Oh no, I want that to be Silken. So if I click on it, look, it's gone purple. Oh no, and I can't see it now. So back to layer. I'm going to have to do a light, I'll do a light purple and see what happens. Very nice, or pink, maybe not. Let's go light. There we go, try that. That's a bit better, isn't it? So I'm going to get out of there. Right, lovely. So I'm drawing a line, and I want to draw a line at an angle. So I'm going to draw it from, say, this point, just clicking on it. And I want to do it at a distance and an angle. So we were using absolute and relative earlier, where we were talking about if it's absolutely, it's your coordinate system from 0, 0, which is your origin. So anything you type in is basically from the origin. Relative is when you've clicked here and you do at in front of it. and that means that it's from that point. So this point is 0, 0, and anything I draw now will be X and Y from that point. I forgot to say what if I tab back, hash is actually the symbol when you're going for your absolute method. So if you put hash and then you put 20, 10, see what happens. Yeah, it goes 20 and 10 from 0, which is over here. So I'm going to forget that. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line. I'm still in text layer. Whoa. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click on Silken layer. Okay, and that should sort me out. I'm going to put line. I'm going to draw a line from here, and I'm going to draw it. So I'm going to draw it 10, length of 10, and I want it to be at 45 degrees from there, right? So what I would do is I'd do the little less than sign, as you can see here, the box just before the 33 degrees. I'm going to type in 45, and that should give me, lovely, right click and enter, which closes that out. There you go, there's a line. Mirror means that I can do it on the other side. So all I'll do is mirror, enter, specify my first point of mirror line, which was the center of my rectangle, and I'm going to bring it straight up to the center of the line of my rectangle. So that's a mirror line. I don't want to erase the source object, so I type N or just press enter because it's the little circles on there now. And as you see, I've now mirrored those 2 points there, so that's quite good, isn't it? If I want to do a construction line to help me, you can actually, so I've put construction as my lines, and if you type in construction line, see that? Ooh. And I'm going to click in the center of my rectangle, and I'm going to radiate it upwards. Now if I want it to go directly upwards, I can either put in any sort of through point, so I can put the center there, right? Another option is down here with auth mode, which literally if you press F8, right, it only goes up, or it goes X or Y, X or Y. So I'm going to go Y and I'm going to go X just for fun, and then I'm going to see if it'll let me. I'm going to take off auth mode and I'm going to go through the center of there. Look at that. So I can actually draw some lines which will help me construct things. So these lines are things that I can now, my cursor will, as long as I've got a snap mode, my cursor will snap to these lines, but I've set them up as different layers, so they're not actually part of my drawing. What else can we do? So if we're doing a circle, again, I've put it on the wrong layer, so I'll click that, and then I'll put it on the right layer. I want it on Silken. There we go. It's done. I want to draw a right. What am I trying to draw? I'm going to draw from the center here, I'm going to draw an arrow. So I'm going to put auth mode on, and I'm going to say I want it to be 7. So I'm going to type 7 and enter and see what happens. Because I've got auth mode on, and I typed 7, it went, and my cursor was in this direction, it typed in 7 and went to there. If I escape out of there, as you see, again, wrong layer, click on that. What layer do I want to be on? Silken, that one. Okay, so I'm going to draw another line from there. I'm going to take off my auth mode, and I'm going to click to there. And again, wrong layer. Click on that. There we go. I want my Silken layer on now, so I'm going to click on the Silken layer. And these 2 lines I want to mirror. Mirror. Okay, and I'm going to do my mirror line, which is my construction line. So I can click on one point in my construction line, any other point in my construction line, and I do not want to erase source objects, so that's fine. So there's a bit of an arrow there for you, right? Imagine if I wanted to draw the rest of the arrow. So the center of here, all the way down. Now it's not quite straight, is it? So if I go back to my auth mode and I go all the way down, I overshoot a little bit. Click on there, okay? And I'm going to mirror that again. Or actually, I'll do something a bit different. Copy. I'm going to copy from the top of it, and I'm going to move it over to the centre of that bit there. Oh, look at that. And then if I can either close out by pressing enter, or right click, or escape, whatever you want to do. And you see I've overshot this circle here, but I want these lines to be within the circle. This is the same with anything else you do. I'll do a similar thing here actually. I'm going to draw my chimney. Let's draw a simple chimney. Just going to draw one, just fun. There you go. Right, I want that to join onto there, and I want this, so I want these two to be gone. So there's a little tool called Trim. I'm going to highlight all of them. Trim, enter. Now I've selected all the objects already, but you can do it the other way around if you want. And as you see, as I hover over little elements, it greys them out, because that's what it's going to trim for me. So as long as I've done it correctly and I've highlighted everything that's linked, I can click on that and it'll trim that, and it'll trim that. Oh, look at that, isn't that lovely? So there is my beautiful arrow. Okay, I can also rotate my arrow, rotate. Okay, my base point in the centre, and then I want it to go, what, 60 degrees it was saying? If you want it to go 60 degrees and this in clockwise direction. Now bear in mind, when you're doing angles, 90 degrees is basically along your X, right? So it's from your X to your Y, okay? So it's going kind of counterclockwise, so you have to bear that in mind. So what I would be doing is I'd be saying, right, I want it to go, there's two ways of doing it. I'm taking off ortho because that's wee. You can do it where you swing it round and you kind of work it out. You can either do a construction line which is at the right angle and you can match it to that, or you can just say what angle it is, but you've got to work it out. So say I said 60. It's gone 60 to the left because it's gone anti-clockwise. Oh no. So I'm just going to highlight it, and I'm actually just going to mirror it because it's just 60 in the opposite direction, isn't it? So I'm going to click on my first mirror line, which is the construction line, and the other construction line, and I'm going to this time, yes, to erase source objects, because I don't want the wrong arrow included with my right arrow. So there you go, it's erased it. Done. Trim, enter. I'm going to select all of these, enter. And now I'm going to trim off. What do I want to trim off? Do I want to trim off this bit here? Yes, I do. And that bit there. Look at that. Maybe this bit here. And maybe this bit here. Yeah? So with trim, you basically, as it says, you're trimming back. Oh, sorry, you can actually trim those as well. So I was just moving them, but you can trim them. So you can trim this section so it trims back, yeah? See that? All right. And this is, as you see, there's 3 corners there, and then there's one. Say you wanted that to be a square. There's another thing which you can actually create, and even this shape here. They're all separated at the minute, because if you click on them, they highlight separate sections, which means it's not all together. If you want it to become together, you can actually do a thing called join. Join. What it does is it joins all of the segments together. Look at that. So that's now a square, or a rectangle really, and this is now a bit of a polygon. So yeah, you can do all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm gonna join. What I'm gonna do is move that back so it's a proper arrow, and I'm going to click on all the arrow elements, and I'm going to join them together so they're actually one big arrow. Oh, not quite. Join. There you go, done. Okay, so have a little play, see how we